Make-A-Wish recipients and workers. What were some wishes you had to say no to? Story 1. The amount of kids that wish to go to Disney World is so large that Disney built its own resort for them called Give Kids the World, where only families from Make-A-Wish can stay. They have special buses to transport them, doctors are always on staff, and there's special games and activities at the resort for kids who can't make it to the park that day. I adore Make-A-Wish and everything it's done for kids. It helped send my friend to the Bahamas when she was sick, and she said it was one of the best experiences of her life. Story 2. This isn't my personal story, but of my uncle who passed away shortly after I was born. Namely, he loved the Terminator so much that he wanted nothing more than to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. Due to having a busy schedule, Arnold's agent had to deny him his wish a couple of times. Was filming for the second Terminator. My uncle was so determined to meet the actor that he then changed his wish to meet Mariah Shriver, Arnold's wife. Because of his determination, he was allowed on the set of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. He got to meet Arnold, Maria, and Arnold's stunt double. My mom still has the pictures and it makes my heart soar. Make-A-Wish is fantastic and I'm so glad my uncle got to live out his dream. Reply 1. I don't understand why Arnold couldn't have let him come on set to meet him all the other times. I get he's busy filming, but it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to walk over to someone in between screen time and shake someone's hand. Story 3. I was a Make-A-Wish kid around 20 years ago. I was 5. I asked to be turned into a dinosaur. They said no. Story 4. I don't know the kid at all, but he died from cancer during his senior year of high school, when I was a sophomore. Later on, I found out his name was Tyler. His wish was a gift to his best friend. Tyler went to a computer store and asked him to show him the best computer there. Then Tyler bought the best one there using Make-A-Wish donation money, only to die a little later. I have to say, he was such a selfless guy. Story 5. My son was a Make-A-Wish recipient. He wanted to go to Europe. They were planning it, and his birth father wouldn't allow my kids to get passports. Great father, huh? Son was like 36% chance of survival and brain cancer, and he said no passports. Anyways, his second wish was an RV trip to the Badlands, Yellowstone, and the Rockies. They got us the biggest bus type, think it's an A-class RV they could get. Set everything up for us, gave us itineraries, and off we went. It's such an incredible organization, and luckily my son had a blast after finally having the okay to go. He's also in remission and doing well, thank God. Make-A-Wish is incredible. Reply 1. Why the f would he deny a passport? Sorry, but I have to ask. Glad he's doing okay, by the way. Reply 2. He's a douchebag. He only saw them once a year at most. Didn't help with medical or anything else. He said he didn't want me to move to another country when I never in my life said anything about moving to another country. I had full physical custody and we shared legal custody. Now kids are old enough to realize what an asshole he is and don't even really talk to him anymore. My husband was a father figure, so at least they had that. Some people just don't deserve to have kids if you ask me. He knew that his kid might not live for much longer and he decided not to sign a goddamn paper that would literally take him a minute to do so that his child could get his wish. That could have been that kid's very last wish and he really deprived him of it. What an asshole. Story 6. I was really lucky to have made a wish granted, and I just wanted to say they really go above and beyond. My mom has always talked about going to Hawaii, and we knew it was pretty unrealistic for our family of 4. I was pretty young when I made my wish, so I didn't even know all that Hawaii had to offer, but I chose to go there for my wish. They put us up in a penthouse suite on Waikiki Beach, and I've never experienced anything more special in my life. Everything and everyone there wanted to make sure that my family had an unforgettable time, and we sure did. We were able to forget about cancer for a little while and feel like a normal family again. Thank you so much, Make-A-Wish, and all that contribute. Story 7. I have experience with Make-A-Wish in the last year due to my son's condition. This was a question I asked, and the response I was given was they will do anything they can do within reason. One kid wanted a swimming pool in his backyard, and they did that. Because of how the process goes with Make-A-Wish, They ask the kid a lot of questions to determine what the child wants and to ensure there isn't any influence from the parents. My wife and I sat with my son while they asked him a lot of questions over about a 1-hour period to determine what he really wanted to do. They asked her and me to sit there silently while he answered honestly. We are going to go to Legoland and meet Darth Vader sometime in 2019. That is awesome. There's an organization that does that for sick children like your son. I wish him the best on his journey to Legoland, and I hope you guys have many more great memories formed together through whatever illness he is dealing with. I'm glad you sound like a good parent who just wants to see your son smile. That makes me all warm and fuzzy. Best of luck to you and your family, and I wish you all the best. Story 8. One of my nieces is a Make-A-Wish recipient, and she had stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma. They flew her sisters, her dad, and her grandma to Disney World, and they had the time of their lives. She's 6 years cancer-free and still talks about how grateful she was for that trip. She just turned 14, and her younger sister talks about how it was her only airplane ride ever. That organization is amazing and will forever have all of our support. Edit. I would like to add that the Ronald McDonald House Charities is another amazing organization that put my family up for housing in Manhattan during her treatment, over 2 years in the hospital at a minimal cost. Before that, we were driving 3 hours each way every time she needed chemo. Story 9. When I was a baby until I was 5, I had cancer and got some wishes. My first wish was for a computer. I only wanted a computer because it came with a mouse. Yes, I thought it came with a real mouse. So obviously it was rejected because you can't have pets when you basically live in a hospital. And my family was broke as anyway, so they couldn't give us a pet. I ended up getting some dope googly eye glasses and an epic trip to Disney World. It was the only family vacation we ever got to go on. Reply 1. They can't get you a pet and the long-term resources for it? Man, my aunt is a wish coordinator and man, I can't get the courage to join her. Having to ever say no would feel like such a betrayal. Story 10. I got a wish as a kid, then survived. The biggest thing I could think of was to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and I have no idea why I was fixated on that. To the credit of some good peeps, to Chuck E. Cheese's I went. I couldn't be around other people, so they opened it up at night, and people deep cleaned it, sterilizing each ball on the ball pit. There was dedication there. Then someone who was cleared medically worked it. Don't remember most of it, was pretty young, mostly just remember the bits I found exciting. But that damn rat casino still makes me smile whenever I see one. The moral of the story? Never bet against Make-A-Wish when dealing with logistics. Story 11. My little brother has had 2 heart transplants so far, and will probably get another before it's all said and done. His wish was to go to Nintendo. Well, Nintendo Japan doesn't grant wishes, but Nintendo of America does. He stayed in Seattle for a few days and had a day-long tour of Nintendo. Unfortunately, Reggie wasn't in the office that day, but the Treehouse staff led him around all day. This was right before the Switch came out, so he got to play Breath of the Wild before anyone. They gave him a sweet goodie bag and let him go on a shopping spree in the employee store. That's really amazing. I think Nintendo of Japan would have been a disappointment. Kyoto is cool, but you're gonna have trouble getting a little kid hyped about ancient Japanese temples and history and authentic Kyoto cuisine when he'd rather have a 3DS and chicken nuggets. At least, I would at that age. Story 12. Make-A-Wish granter here, and I have to say it is the ultimate sadness when we have to stop the process because a non-custodial parent won't sign the paperwork. It's happened far too often. Reply 1. As a wish granter, I do the part where we meet the child and the parents, and then as long as no one is a douche, we get to actually grant the wish. Our central office staff are the lucky folks who have to track down the non-custodial parent and ask for their permission to grant the wish for the child. I am just a volunteer, so the paid people do the extra challenging stuff like that. I would hope they at least say something to make them reevaluate their life for denying their child a wish, when that child not only has a life-threatening illness, but also clearly a not-so-happy family life on top of it all. Every single time I've had a non-custodial parent refuse, it's been because of spite towards the other parent. They don't want that parent getting a free trip or any benefit from the wish. Not to say that there aren't other people who have had other reasons to decline, but that's sadly been the reason in my experience. Story 13. My daughter was granted a wish. She really wanted to meet Taylor Swift and see her in concert, but Taylor was not touring at the time. So we, her parents, kiboshed that wish. She was not healthy enough to enjoy a long concert, and I didn't want her to postpone her wish since we weren't sure if or how long she might live. In the end, she chose to go to the SeaWorld resort in Florida and swim with the dolphins. She ended up being scared to death of them and refused to even go in the water. Make-A-Wish sent us to Universal while we were there too, and she had fun. That was 6 years ago, and she is now in remission. So we took her to a Taylor Swift concert this last summer, and I think she enjoyed it way more than she would have 6 years ago. Story 14. When I was 15, I got to make a wish, and because of that, my uncle really pushed me to ask to meet Tiger Woods and play golf with him. But I wasn't into that, neither was my cervical tumor. I was getting better and I knew I was going to be fine. I told the wish peeps that I wanted to bow out, but they were pushy. Right in front of my mom, I said I wanted to smoke you know what with Snoop Dogg and wouldn't accept any other wish, which got shut down immediately. Story 15. I worked for Make-A-Wish. Junior Genie, as I like to say. We had to say no to wishes all the time. Either the person the kid wanted to meet didn't grant wishes, the place they wanted to go didn't grant wishes, their wish was ridiculously expensive/prohibitive, their doctor didn't sign off on the wish since it wasn't a good idea for their health, and so on. For the most part, our volunteers were pretty good at helping kids zero in that perfect wish. I have helped coordinate some wishes that I was surprised to see were approved. Usually it's trips to far distances with a lot of stops and long stays. It's one thing to go to Japan, it's another to go to Japan for 2 weeks. It's another to go to Japan for 2 weeks and go to 10 different attractions. Not all of them give us free tickets, many don't even give discounts. Most kids had cookie-cutter wishes. Disney World, Paris, Meet the President, etc. Those were my bread and butter. I hate to call them cookie cutter because I know it's such a precious memory for the kid and their family. Working there was a precious memory for me too, and I enjoyed coordinating everyone's trips. Usual, frequent, high medical needs, lots of family, what have you. It was such an amazing thing to be a part of. Story 16. A classmate of mine, now passed, got a meet and greet with Sammy Sosa. The understanding from the Make-A-Wish people was that Sammy would sign autographs and sit with the family for a while. Now, this kid was all about Sammy. He had his jerseys, loved his little leaps after home runs, and if I recall correctly, even was big into Pepsi because of Sammy too. When the day came, Sammy showed up late. He didn't respond when the family greeted him. It was described as a sullen silence, signed a glove, and then walked away. My classmates started crying once it was clear Sammy was not going to come back. Right then, the parents were about to leave. Another baseball player named Corey Patterson saw my classmate, came up, signed everything they had, and talked and joked around with the family for over half an hour. Corey became my classmate's favorite player that day, and I think he lived perhaps a year after that. At his funeral, my classmate's picture with Corey was one of the prominent pictures. That moment and that day truly meant the world for him. To this day, I'm unsure if someone from Make-A-Wish found Corey or if the moment was as spontaneous as it was described to me, but no matter what, he will always have a special place in my heart because of that story. Story 17. I've been the recipient, and later on, after my health improved, I volunteered as a wish coordinator. My original wish was to attend the Oscars, which got denied by the Academy as they don't grant wishes. I wound up going to the People's Choice Awards as a VIP. Make-A-Wish flew my family to LA for a week and all expenses were paid. They got us a limo for the show and paid for my dress, hair, and makeup. We walked the red carpet and were seated nearby the stage, which was a once-in-a-lifetime experience since the generosity of the volunteers is remarkable. They even had someone greet us at the airport on arrival. It was extremely important to me that my brother and sister were included in my wish because my illness had robbed them of part of their childhoods. I am forever indebted to everyone who made my wish possible. When I turned 18, I decided to volunteer as a wish coordinator to give back to an organization that did so much for me. I met with wish kids and their families. We would always arrive with the gift for all the children in the family based on a little survey they filled out. We'd talk with the child and help define their wish. And in my opinion, it's important to determine the child's true wish and make sure that it isn't influenced by parents. Among many of them, the most common one is to go to Disneyland. Celebrity meets and greets are the ones that often can be turned down. First, because it is undefined what a meet and greet is. It could be the child literally waving at someone, and no one wants that. And second, because not all celebrities grant wishes or can schedule a time to meet with kids. The coolest wish I worked on was a shopping spree for a boy who was confined to his room. He got $7,000 to go buy video games, TVs, a tricked-out lazy boy, etc. for the ultimate gaming setup.
Please leave your story down below in the comments. I would absolutely love to make a video about them in the future. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.